what's good? Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Can you hear me?
All right, what's going on? Hey, Rich, you'll need to
Hello.
unmute yourself to get started.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Otis.
Okay. All
Amani, we
right.
can hear
So,
you. There we go.
yeah, I
Yo,
apologize for the tardiness. I was trying to figure this out. It wasn't working for me. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
that's all good. It's
all
all good,
good.
bro.
All right.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Rich. We in the building tonight, Black Comic Lords, and I have a few special guests tonight. This is Real Talk with Rich. We're not going to go through the normal rigmarole, different segments, things of that nature. We have a focus tonight, and that focus is going to be on Black Panther. I got two guests with me tonight. I have the OG Otis Black Lion Otterberry in the building. He's a artist. He's a tattoo artist. He's an artist extraordinaire. This guy's a sculptor. This guy's an
Appreciate you.
original art collector. He the man. So I love this dude. He's amazing, and I'm glad to have that he's here with us tonight. And I also have Amani Latif of Black Comics Universe. Amani Latif has been in the game for quite some time. This is a cat that I first saw do a TED talk on Black Comics. So he gets all the respect just because anybody that's able to finesse their way to a TED talk doing what we do,
Yeah. That's what's
I,
up.
No
I
doubt.
can't do nothing but respect the hustle.
Much
So,
respect.
fellas, thank you guys for joining with us tonight. Man, look, normally I would have the regular crew here, but I wanted to bring in some new blood. And because you guys know how we feel about T'Challa, whether
Right.
we team save T'Challa, recast T'Challa, all of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted some different perspective. Otis, my man, condolences to you because when we were having our round tables around Wakanda Forever, you experienced a loss and you had to step away from the community for a minute to, uh,
Yeah.
gather yourself and get back to business. So now I know that you're back to business. What we want to do tonight is want to first talk about the movie, man, Wakanda Forever. I saw you. You was dressed to the nine. You went to the premiere.
Yes. You know. I said I was gonna do it. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was like the man. He had the money. He had the beads. He had it all. He was
good
yeah.
times.
So
Okay.
Good time.
yeah. So let me ask you, Otis, man. Overall, how did you feel about the movie itself?
Um. All right. I thought the movie was dope. Um. It was incredible. Um. I. The movie was special to me. All
Yeah.
right. That's what it was. The movie was special to me. I know. We had did our live before. The movie came out, and I was, expressing my point of view of how it was woman driven. You know what I'm saying? How a lot of people had an issue with that, and how I loved that. I love that part of it. I love that. Um, it was a Wakanda movie. It wasn't a
Right.
Black Panther movie. It was a Wakanda movie. Um, first and foremost, Wakanda forever. You know
That's
this. You know what I'm saying? And by me saying that, I'm saying, y'all know that I'm a die-hard Black Panther fan.
yes, sir.
But Wakanda is where he is from. Wakanda is what the Black Panther is all about. So you have to embrace Wakanda the same way you embrace T'Challa. And that's what this movie did. This movie wasn't focused on Black Panther. It was focused on Wakanda and how Wakanda works, how Wakanda continues. I think my headphones are about to die, but how Wakanda continues. It's a warrior nation. Don't nothing stop this train, not
Right.
even death. So I guess what I'm saying is I love the movie. I love the movie for what it was. I love the movie for the story it told, and I loved it because I saw the people that I love the most on the screen.
Mm.
My mom, my
Right.
grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
my aunt, my sister,
Right.
taking care of business, keeping it moving while, you know, everybody else is doing what they do. And you know what I mean by that. You
Yes,
know what I'm
sir.
saying? So, one of my big gripes, like the last time we were talking, was about how a lot of us grew up in single family homes.
Right.
And
Hmm.
Ma Dukes was holding it down, or Grandma Dukes was holding it down.
Yes, sir.
She was the superhero. Look, my pops is cool. My daddy is one of the baddest men on this planet. But he don't hold a candle to my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes, sir.
I'm keeping it a buck.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
grandmother's the
Yes, sir.
gangster in my family. So all I'm saying is this movie to me, it showed that side of Wakanda. Do you know what I'm saying? And I
Yes,
thought it
sir.
was dope because it's not like I know T'Challa's, never coming back.
Right.
Let's let Wakanda get some shine. So I love the movie.
That's what's up.
Short of it.
Got you. What about you, Amani? We hadn't had a chance to talk on screen about, your thoughts on. I
Mhm.
know you had thoughts about the movie before it came out, what was going to be happening in the movie. What is your
Yeah,
initial
yeah.
thoughts about the movie, bro?
Um, well, I think it was apparent even from the beginning that it was going to be, women driven or women focused. Uh, I was kind of prepared for that from the first movie because I already had the inkling that they were going to do something with um Nakia's character.
Okay.
But so I was already sort of like gearing up for a shift in
Yeah.
some shape, form, or fashion before Chadwick Boseman passed, right? Um,
Got you.
I give it a. I don't like to do grades, but I will say this. I think the movie suffers from the typical sophomore jinx. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
Mhm.
right.
Like I think this is about as good as the second Black Panther movie was going to get, right? Um, and that's just a typical Hollywood or film, cycle. The sequel doesn't always, land, like the first one. Like the first one was a tall order. Like I don't know how they could have possibly have topped the first one, in sales or anything else. So I
Right.
wasn't I wasn't expecting like a whole lot. You know what I mean? So for
Okay.
what it for what it was worth, it was a decent film. I started, it was interesting. I started imagining if I started to think about if Chadwick Boseman was still alive, right?
Right.
And the Black Panther, T'Challa, was in this film. And I was trying to figure out if that would have made this film any better. And
Yeah.
I don't think it would have moved the needle that much. So it's
Mm.
like for what they were trying to do, as far as introducing Namor or
Right.
Namor,
Mhm.
um, who I honestly think he deserved some type of Grammy nomination for because I think he killed the role.
Yeah.
Or not Grammy, Oscar nomination. That's the one,
Uh-huh.
Oscar.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, I think he really, stepped into that role. Um, and I think, and it was just so emotional driven. It was definitely felt like it was just a film. This felt like a film for the cast. And, I'm on record as saying, like, I've had this debate before, and I was saying, like, you know what, if nothing else, for what they gave us in the first film, I believe the creators, deserve all the grace in the world to make whatever movie they saw fit this second time around. You know what I mean? For what they
Mhm.
brought to us the first time, you know, I will, I'm not going to, judge them by any means on what they chose to do as far as casting and recasting women led and all this kind of stuff, one way or another. I think they deserve the grace to make that decision based on what they delivered for us the first time. So
Right. It's interesting. I like that comment. Professor film fan says, "Good evening. Will Gotham get shine without Bruce Wayne?" And I've always maintained that the biggest character, as far as Batman is concerned, isn't Batman. The biggest
it's
character is
Gotham.
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 Yeah, right.
And
Absolutely right.
Exactly. Yep.
so I think that people don't recognize that. I think Batman fans do, but
Right.
looking at on the outside, looking in or whatever, it's kind of like, okay, we try to make that comparison, and while one of the things that we talk about is getting to understand more of what Wakanda is, and so it's
Mhm.
kind of like, okay, now you're getting that. Unfortunately, it's under the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman that we're getting this new found information or this new lens on Wakanda itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it is what it is. Now, it's interesting because Brian Coogler said that the story that he originally wanted to tell was a father and son story, where they were gonna do the film during the blip, where when he comes back, the son that showed up at the end of the movie, it would be a story of him and T'Challa getting to know one another. That's the story that they originally wanted to tell, with Namor in that, of course. I think that would have been fantastic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not what they did, and so you asked the question, how could they have done better, Imani? And I think that that's when the skills of a Chadwick Boseman come into play, because the one thing about that dude, when that dude show up on film, that dude
Mm-hmm.
goes to work. That is, he was one of the hardest working young actors in Hollywood at that time. Um, all you have to do is look at his work he did with James Brown, the work he did when he played Jackie Robinson, the work he did when he played Marshall. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the guy was a phenom, and
Mhm.
he was definitely locked in, which it was kind of hard for people to see anyone else play that role, because
Mm-hmm.
he did such a fantastic job. So,
Yeah, I was just
yeah.
saying that. I was like, it was in the Black Comic Lords. We were talking about the recasting or something, and I said, you know what? It occurred to me that I can only imagine what it's been like behind the scenes, the number of phone calls and jockeying of actors,
Mhm.
A-list actors looking to get that role. Maybe some, dirty behind the scenes, tricks, getting in front of, Kugler or any number of different things. It's like I can only imagine what it's been like for them, in terms of possibly, even if they wanted to recast T'Challa. Like, it's like you're going to get one chance at this. It's like they probably did themselves a favor by not recasting, because they could have blown it. It could have, you know what I'm saying? It's like they can't recast them again. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's just like either they were gonna. So it's like, because I think a lot of, like, for instance, a lot of the stuff we saw on social media say, oh yeah, this guy could play T'Challa. This guy could play T'Challa. That's our PR. That's someone who's working for this actor, creating this buzz. Like, this stuff just don't happen by chance or happen organically. These people create these narratives, and they got it. Then it's like, because on the heels of, they get so many likes, and then I'm sure there's a phone call coming. It's like, oh, you saw we got a million likes on our chat, on our recast T'Challa post. Did you see that? It's like he's ready to come in. And it's like, I don't think they wanted to be bothered.
Right. I mean, it's a lot of what ifs to that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to shift gears and get ready to talk about Ridley's Run, but I want to talk to you guys about the deleted scene.
Let me stretch.
I want to talk about the deleted scene, the scene with the Koye and the tribal leader that was putting her up to someday take the crown. That was an interesting deleted scene. That scene, in my opinion, should have been in the movie. For no other reason than to add another layer of intrigue when it comes to Wakanda and perhaps what they want to do on Disney Plus. Now, maybe they held that back to put it out there later on to say, okay, this is how we're going to do Okoye's show. So the thought is that she may get a show. We don't know for sure, 100% sure if that's the case, but I'm thinking that that's the way they're going to lean anyway. Okoye is one of the favorite Doras in the group, and now with her wearing the Midnight Angels gear, there's a lot that they could do with that character and with her journey. But I mean, what did you think about that, Otis? What did you think about the deleted scene, bro?
I thought it was fire. It was. She could do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought it was something that definitely should have been put in there. Like you said, definitely something that should have been put in there, because it adds on to like everything else that happened in the movie. I mean, that scene when Angela Bassett like broke her down, I cried. I felt so bad for her, but at the same time, I understood why she was doing it. And it's like, it was like scenes like that, very powerful scenes like that, and you see at the end when he's talking to her and he's saying, well, you should go for it. It's like you are that person. You could be. You know what I'm saying? We believe in you, and that, like I was saying earlier, like this movie really made me emotional. And this is like the first time that I'm ever like talking about this. And I know it's a movie. This movie was special to me. So just, oh man, I dug the scene, man. I dig her character. She's not just a bodyguard. She's not just like the right hand. Like she's more than just a warrior. She could be a leader too. I mean, she is a leader, but like she can get higher than that. Like I can't get the words right. I can't get the words right, but I thought it was special.
She's royal blood, of course. She's very fierce. She definitely for his challenge day, she would be up for that. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
he got
That's what I'm
skills.
saying.
She's a Dora. She was a general on top of it. So I mean, she could definitely, because it's funny because when they film that scene and you see her face when the elder mentions it to her, because she asked the question, well, what about Shuri? And he's like, she's not ready. She doesn't want. She's not the woman for the job. And that's a lot of truth in that. Um, you know, which is interesting to me how they're going to handle Shuri going forward because Shuri is wrestling with loss. Of course, she's got this newfound nephew in her life or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But with her having the mantle of Black Panther and the supposedly thought that M'Baku is going to be king, you know, um, they left a lot of threads to pull on, and that's the one thing I gotta say that with this movie, it was very very powerful movie. There were scenes in it that, of course, that I shedded tears. When she broke her down in that scene, and she's literally on her knees and she's begging and she's calling her mother. She was like, "Mother, don't do this." It's like this is all I have, and for her to kind of like, and of course Queen Ramonda was in her feelings because she's lost everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know what, I'm done. It's like I trusted you that you would take care of Shuri. Shuri got down to see Riri, and the plan, was it went to kaput. If I can't use the language I want to use, but it really just fell apart. And so here she is trying to like keep her life together. She's lost her husband, she lost her son. Now Shuri is out of action. She reacted very emotional. I mean, but it was one of the most powerful scenes of that movie.
Yeah.
So, Imani, what do you think about that scene, man? That deleted scene.
Oddly enough, I didn't see it, but I can see, I can understand why the direction they were going in is sort of
Right.
like it seemed like the obvious choice. Like, and heaven forbid, yeah, if she fought in Baku, it's a wrap. She'd probably take him out. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm not sure why they decided to step away from that storyline. Because now it just seems like she's kind of rogue. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
without, because technically, even at the in the I guess the final scenes of the movie, she's not technically Dora Milaje anymore.
Right.
At least that's the impression I got. I wasn't sure
Yeah.
if what she was doing was on behalf of Wakanda, or she was doing this on, as a favor, or whatever the issue might be. But so yeah, it's like I think it would definitely be interesting to see her in that role. Uh so yeah, it wasn't, that's pretty much all the all I had to say about it. I think that
Right.
I think I think what's interesting about the movie overall going in this direction is because I think Marvel learned so much about the black market
Mm,
after seeing the results and the sales of the first Black Panther. I
yeah.
think they doubled down on what seemed to work the most. You know what I mean? So it was like, because I can recall like when the first one came out, it wasn't, even when the first one came out, even with Chadwick Boseman being as celebrated as he was, a good portion of the hype was the Dora Milaje and black women, and the empowerment of black women in this film, in
Mhm.
that first one, in the first Black Panther.
Right.
And I always felt like they were going to return to that and double down. and that's what they definitely decided to do. I can even see it in the books that it's following the same trend. They like not just the really run, but we know with the next run after that, they're aggressive. It's almost like they're aggressively going after Black women readers. They're very strong. They're a very strong community online as far as as far as fiction and prose books are concerned.
Yeah.
As far as reviewers, a lot of the top pop culture influencers happen to be Black women. So they created a movie that definitely it's almost like this movie is for tastemakers, and when it comes to the Black community, as far as Black pop culture, the vast majority, at least of the tastemakers that I know of, the most influential ones happen to be women, Black women. So there's no mistake that they went that route. And then to a degree, I believe it was smart.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go ahead.
No. I want to cut you off. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Then I'm good.
That's pretty much it.
All right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize. I didn't want to cut you off. I'm sorry. I just didn't want it. I didn't want to lose this thought. So do you think that this was done purposely? You feel like it was done purposely, like as you said, women driven. Do you you're saying that it's done purposely? I agree with you. I totally do. Do you think that they also are just putting shine on Black women? And the reason why I ask that is, do you consider or do you think that it's pandering, or is it time? Do you know what I'm saying? Or is it a little bit of both? And which is what I think. I think it's a little bit of both, because it's been time. You know what I'm saying? It's been time. So that's my whole stance on it. When even in the first one, like you said, you said it seemed like more like women driven. I agree with you. I agree with you. Has this industry been women driven? Has it always been women driven, or has it mainly been men driven? And I'm not talking a black white thing. I'm not talking about white males being superheroes and black male. I'm not doing that. I'm talking about men and women. This has been a male dominated genre forever, and I'm not. That's not a controversial thing. That's just how it was, right? So I'm just wondering. Yes, I think this was done on purpose because somebody wants to get paid off of this movement and how things are going, But I also think that it's been time for something like this. How about this? Has there ever been anything like this in all the years of comic books since the first one it ever was printed? Okay, has it ever been a black female driven story or situation?
For the most part, no. But I will say this. When it comes to Marvel specifically, right? We know historically, and Black Panther actually is a great example of this. The comic book industry and Marvel specifically, we know that they don't move until society moves, right? They don't make a move until they read the tea leaves and they see that, okay, everything's shifting in this direction. Now is the time for a Black Panther comic book, right? So, like, there's no coincidence that the first Black Panther book or the Black Panther character was, you know, you know, came in around the 70s, right? Or Luke Cage came in in the 70s, and they were responding to a shift, an apparent shift in culture, right? They like, and Marvel is notorious for this. Like they know they keep their finger on the pulse of things. Um, and at the same time, now that they're owned by Disney, you have another corporation that's doing the exact same thing that, probably wrote the book on it. And so when you see it, when it comes to the film, right? I think it's important to not so much the comic book, because the comic books have always been male driven. That's for sure. Um, but oddly enough, when you talk about the industry overall, the biggest growth is in the book market. And in the book market, that's women.
Right.
Right? That's the what's driving that market is primarily women. And so when they look at overall, so then when you get to this film, right, and you look at all the think about this, not just the film, but think about all the merchandising around the film. You know what I mean? It hasn't been just, a comic book here and there. There's been a lot of um, young adult books coming out of here, children's books. You know, um, they're they're tending they tend to make most of their money on the trades, which is in the book market, as opposed to doing a ton of publications in the direct market in the typical comic book shop. So when I see them go after black women, I'm looking at it from the standpoint, right? You're right. Is predominantly the comic book industry. Floppies, yeah, that's male driven all day. But trades, right?
Right.
Graphic novels, that's women driven. And it's like, and it's not just, and they don't just pick up these, and they don't just, they're not just looking at numbers in terms of superhero movies either, right? They're looking at a very broad scope of things. Like, for instance, it wasn't men that made Luke Cage popular on Netflix. I think it was black women. Like, if you follow Twitter, Black Twitter, during that time when Luke Cage dropped, it was all about getting coffee, and we know that was about him smashing everybody in that dang on show. You know what I'm saying? Sweet, he didn't cuss not a lick, but he laid it down with almost every female character in that show. Black women is what shut that Netflix down when that premiered. And it was black women influencers on Twitter that drove the show, that made it popular. So when they take this, and this was before the first Black Panther even came out. So they've been paying attention. And then you got places like, this was filmed in Atlanta, right?
Right.
A state that turned blue due to black women, right? So like, they're paying attention to all these things. And I think, as much as even I, as the typical black male comic book fan, yeah, I think I wish it was more action packed. I wish it was more, the fight scenes were better. I wish there was a really stronger male lead. I hope for all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure if black men really were driving these films as much as we thought we were in comparison. Even if it was 50-50, that's a pretty powerful statement, even in and of itself. So,
Well, here's the thing, guy. I think that at the end of the day, those who love Black Panther went to go see the movie. Those that were casual fans may saw it, waited for it to get to Disney Plus, I think that there is merit in what you guys both say. The thing though is, if you know, some of our thoughts was you don't have to. You can prop up black women, but give us T'Challa, recast T'Challa. That was the thought, because some of us thought that, well, if they make it women driven like it was, then it takes the shine or the focus off black men or black boys, which it is what it is. Me
Mhm.
personally, I'm a comic book head, first and foremost, and so the movies are icing for me. They're icing on the cake, meaning that
Mhm.
I don't really need that to be me. I don't go to the theaters and expect to get a whole lot of stuff out of the the movie theaters, whatever. It's a cool experience. I've seen the movie 3 times, so
Mhm.
you know for me it's about celebrating the moment in time in which we're in. And it just so happens to be Shuri's. She has the mantle of Black Panther. Um, Mbaku, quote unquote, is the king, though we didn't see his coronation or anything like that. And I mean, at the end of the day, what I'm saying, everything, when it comes to marketing, period, women are marketed to first. That's just
Mhm.
facts. That's just economics. That has nothing to do with male readers or the lack of male presence. Women, you go to a store like Macy's or Dillard's or whatever. There's a reason why the men's section is a corner, and women
Mm-hmm.
have junior and plus size and all. They have a lot of space, and whereas men don't have as much because women are consumers. They're bigger consumers. It is what it is. So no matter what side of the fence or the line we stand on, we know that Marvel, Disney in particular, is thinking about the bottom line. I mean, they were
Mhm.
selling Mac. They had Wakanda Forever Mac, makeup that they were selling in
Mhm.
their stores. It was a lot of product exchange and whatnot that you and I had nothing to do with, because it wasn't marketed to us, and it is what it
Right.
is. But I think
Mhm.
it's all the more the merry. It's not, we're gonna get T'Challa again. We know, and it's
Yes.
just a matter of when we get him.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, I want to switch the conversation, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a commercial break, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna get into John Ridley's run. We're not gonna talk all night, guys. So we we
I just have a
we
few
only got
points.
a little bit of time to get in, get the meat, and we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
throw the bones away. So
Get the
Derek, if
meat.
you
Get the
don't
meat.
mind, yeah, take us to commercial, and we'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned.
Comics are different. Those things cannot be returned if they do not sell. Okay. So that means that if they buy 10 copies of Monica Rambeau Photon and nobody buys it, they eat that money. And your local comic shop is, the margins are very thin, right? Times are hard for everybody. And so what that means is that it gives comic shop owners incentive to be very risk averse, right? And so you could order a bunch of Batman and you know that every month people are going to come in and buy Batman. It's often characters of color, new characters, lesser known characters where they're like, I don't know, this could be good, but if I put this on my shelves and people don't buy it, I lose money. And I'm sympathetic to that. That's a real assessment that they have to make. So the way that we avoid that is you go in and you pre-order. So Paul goes in 3 months before the comic set comes out and says, hello, I would like to pre-order Monica Rambeau Photon #1. I'm not going to wait till it comes out. I'm telling you now that I want it. And at that point, they're like, okay, let me go ahead and order this. And in the comics world, that is the sale that counts. By the time you come into a store and purchase a comic book, that sale does not count. I know it is ridiculous. It is very silly. That is the way it is. The sale that counts is when the store orders it from the distributor. That is what they are counting. And so what that means is that when you go in and you pre-order things, it actually gives that store confidence. Like, okay, Paul said Paul's going to be back and spend his $5 on this book. So we're good. If we order this one, we know it's going to sell and we can pay our rent. We're not going to be eating this cost this month. The best thing to do is your subscription or your pull list, where you go in and you say, I want you to put these in every month for me, right? And then they will set that aside in a box.
Message.
When Batman asks you, are you willing to die for your cause? You best believe it. It means you just might messing around with the Dark Knight. But there's a darker knight on the scene named Orpheus. This Rich recommends is Batman Orpheus Rising. It is a 5-issue miniseries written by Alex Simmons and drawn by Dwayne Turner. Gavin King, aka Orpheus, meets Batman while investigating a series of cops dying by way of homicide. And get this, they think they are racially motivated. Ain't that a switch? Nevertheless, all these homicides are going down, and it seems as if these cops were no man's land veterans. Check that run out too. Either way, Orpheus goes to the Hill, the place that Batman rarely goes, to confront a gang called the Deacons. In fact, you should go check out Batman the Hill for that revelation. Anyway, Batman being Batman doesn't care for vigilantes in his city that he didn't or doesn't train. The nerve. But Orpheus is just trying to give black children a black superhero. How you love that? They work it out, of course, and save the day. Side note, Orpheus does die for his cause in another tale, Batman War Games. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, peace.
Ugh.
All right. So, shout out to Dr. Eve Ewing, who is going to be the new writer on Black Panther. We're going to get into Dr. Ewing stuff a bit later on. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you, frustrated fans. Please pre-order. It's really worth it. Absolutely. Thank you, De La Soul. We appreciate that. It's an education commercial break. Couldn't ask for better entertainment, Curtis Smith. That's what's up. We aim to please. We aim to please. But now, ladies and gentlemen.
Tamiko. What's up, Tamiko?
What up? John Ridley.
Say full government name, right?
John Ridley has written a infamous body of work that has triggered a lot of fans. You think that the Wakanda Forever detractors were upset at Monty? No, these Black Panther comic heads are losing their mind. And it is not without merit. It is not without reason. But the thing about John Ridley's iteration of Black Panther is that it is a book that it took a while for us to kind of get to the villain. You know, Otis, you taught me a long time ago that villains drive story. I've never forgotten that. And one of the things about this particular run is that the only villain we saw for 90% of this run was T'Challa. And it was like, where are we going? And so I've struggled with this run, not because the run doesn't have merit, but I've struggled because it was kind of like I didn't know where we were going. I've seen heroes' journeys before. Mm-hmm. This had been it. This has been a deconstruction. And while I understand that there's merit in deconstructing when it comes to certain superheroes, T'Challa hadn't been depicted like this before. He's been down before, yes. He's been criticized before, yes. But to this degree, we hadn't seen that before. I'm going to frame this conversation, guys, around a number of questions. But I want you guys, when I ask this first question, I want you to just be very brief. You can just provide yes or no, a little small reason why. Have you guys enjoyed the Ridley run at all? Go ahead. Go ahead, man.
No.
Okay.
From the very beginning, it's like it was something about the tone that I didn't
Gotcha.
like from the very first issue. It was just something about it. I could feel, I knew, I kind of could feel like the direction he was going in, and I just was like, okay. But it was something about the tone and how they wrote characters speaking to him. Like it was something about it. It was sort of like, okay, like nobody's gonna respect this dude. It's like I get like some, a character here and there have taken issue with him, but it was sort of just like it got to the point where it was sort of like I had issues with like what they call suspension of disbelief. You know what I mean? It's like I no longer believe that Black Panther was the head of anything because nobody treated him like he was the head of something. And I think that's where it started for me from there. And he just seemed to like double down from there. So,
Okay, Otis, my brother, have you enjoyed the Ridley run?
I have enjoyed the Ridley run. I like it. It checked a lot of boxes for me. Fire covers, the story, many first appearances, the deconstruction of a man, not a superhero, a man. He was a slave in the intergalactic joint. So you think to yourself, how you think to yourself, how low can they make him? People disrespecting him. T'Challa is being put in the ground, but there's a reason for it. That's what I think. There's a reason for it. But the and we can get into that later. The story itself, I understand about the villain taking a while to lead up to it, but then when you find out who the villain is, you're like, okay. So they promised you like more of an espionage type of story, who done it, spy versus spy type of deal, and I think they delivered. I do. I think they delivered, and there's a reason why T'Challa is being disrespected and being broken down like this. He's gonna come back. The king will be back.
Right. Okay. So my next question is, given the story arcs, I mean, what do you think John Ridley was trying to say, or what story was he trying to tell, in your opinion? I know that for me, it was a story of a man being stripped away, a man being initially in mourning, almost to a point of being a nihilist, and yet the very people that he has had to contend with this whole time, he needs them to restore order. And so it's a humbling experience for T'Challa. And that's the thing I think that's some guys are triggered, in that we've seen T'Challa humbled before, but this is a different level. And so, I'm just curious, what do you guys think John Ridley was trying to say with his run?
Yeah, I think that's where I have the most problem. Is sort of like I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure if I have a problem with the story as much as I have a problem with the commentary, right? So, like, what is he? So that's the whole point. It's like I don't know what he's trying to do. It's just like I don't get it. It's like that's the whole point. It's like because what's so weird is because I love your point, Otis, as far as villains do make stories, but this villain is not all that impressive. I was like, I don't, you know what I mean? It's like it would be different if like he get to the end and like Dr. Doom was standing there, like, okay, now we're going somewhere. But it's
why?
just like,
but why? Why?
But
Why
because
does Doctor Doom like what I'm trying to say is like this run has given us several new villains. Like, look, don't get me wrong, Killmonger, M'Baku, Malice, White Wolf, Achebe. I love T'Challa's rogue gallery. All right, but you can only see them so many times before you're like, all right, let's do something new. That's what all of this is. This is all brand new, and yes, it is at the cost of the king. They are deconstructing him. They are stripping everything away. They are making him almost nothing. And there's a reason for that. My opinion.
Right.
They're trying to get rid of T'Challa for a little while. So everybody else can shine for a minute. Okay?
Gotcha.
That's what they're doing. They are breaking him down to literally nothing. And I, believe me, as a Black Panther fan, this is hard to watch. This is really, really hard to watch. My only thought, and I came up with this wild theory, but I think this is what's going to happen. T'Challa has never been a villain. T'Challa has never turned bad. T'Challa has never, he's always been, T'Challa, but he has never been a bad guy. Okay?
So you're saying a superior Black Panther?
What'd you say?
Like a superior Black Panther, like a superior Spider-Man?
Oh man, that would be kind of cool, actually.
That's what I'm saying.
They did something like that. That would be kind of cool.
Or a superior Iron Man, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like everybody, Tony Stark, even Captain America, everybody has been a villain. Can you imagine Black Panther, T'Challa being broken down the way he's been broken down? I mean, I'm a big wrestling fan. Been watching wrestling since I was a kid. You remember they used to say Rocky sucks and die Rocky die. They hated him. You know what I'm saying? And when he came back as the villain, he was the man. Give T'Challa a villain's role. Break him down where when he comes back, he remembers everybody who disrespected him, because everybody did. Everybody did. He is on his last leg right now. He does not know what to do. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? To that point, it's like I get the whole deconstruction part, but it feels like the way it was written, somewhere in there, it felt like they crossed a line that you can't come back from. Like there are parts of this is sort of like, it's almost like it's to a degree, it's like he doesn't get the throne back unless he's a villain. Because if he were to regain the throne, it would mean that he would have broken down a standing democratic government or something to that effect. So if he becomes king again, he would actually who would have came in and dismantled that. And I don't know if that's any more politically correct than what they've done to him so far. So it's just weird where it feels like they've painted him into this corner where it's like, I don't know how they write
the ship.
Write the ship, how they write this character out of this situation. It's like, unless this was like some weird fever dream, it never really happened. But like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And Namor is now.
We're gonna get the
Namor. You know what I mean? It's like
how can you possibly want a second? We're gonna get the Namor in a second. Let me ask you. Now, Otis, you brought up about the new characters, the new villains he has. One of them is right there on screen right now. He's working with him now, but the Buffalo Soldier, which I think is the dopest character in this run, in my opinion. Some people like Tosin, and Tosin is cool. I'm not discounting Tosin.
Did he have to ride a buffalo though? Did he actually have to ride an extra buffalo?
It's comic books, man.
I know, but still, man.
It's
I
comic books.
know.
Yo, there was
But
a spirit of
still, he
vengeance.
was right.
There was a spirit of vengeance.
As soon as
There
I
was-
saw him riding on that
there-
buffalo,
Listen,
I was like, that's
there-
just disrespectful to all the buffalo.
No,
just
no. There's a spirit of
history?
vengeance that rides a woolly mammoth, a skeleton of a woolly mammoth. Okay, there's a spirit of vengeance that rides that. You know, it's comic books, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that
when that
to
dude
me,
came in
to
on
me, to me,
when he
that
came in on
character
that
is
buffalo.
that character
come
is
on,
so
man.
dope. Shout out to Big Phil because he got the original with that.
Yeah,
He got the
you
original of that.
art on that. Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I thought his character was so dope because it's comic booky. Do you know what I'm saying? It reminded me of a weird character that you see like when you were a kid. You know what
Man.
you know what I'm saying? I understand. I get it. But he's
Riding
riding a
a space
buffalo, and
a buffalo from outer space.
right, exactly. A buffalo from outer space. How come Thor can ride a chariot with three goats pulling it?
Screaming
You know
goats.
what I'm saying? Yeah, so how come my man
That's
can't ride
just as
how come
ridiculous.
my
I
man
don't
can't ride
understand.
my
I don't
man can
understand
ride a
why,
buffalo?
dude.
He's the Buffalo Soldier. It's perfect, man. It's
Well,
perfect.
I'll say this. I'll say this. The reason why I'm gonna tell you. The reason why I like the character.
See, now you're gonna have black. You talking about y'all worried about black boys? You're gonna have black boys thinking that the Buffalo Soldiers run around.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Run around
I
on
like
Buffalo.
the character. Buddy, you got jokes. I like the character because the character goes back to real history. We talk about the Buffalo Soldiers.
Exactly.
Now the him riding a buffalo, I get it, Imani, but that's the geeky weirdness of comics, kind of into play. I mean, look, the colonizer, it was the colonialist.
Mhm.
That was crazy. That was a crazy character. But he was, in my opinion, the Buffalo Soldiers a whole lot tame versus that dude. But again, it's comics. I did a quick Facebook Live, and all I kept saying in the commentary was, "It's comics, guys." And what I was ultimately getting at is, for everything that we get upset about, or for everything that we rail against, or for everything that we don't get what we want, Imani, at the end of the day, it's comic books. And I get this sentiment. I really, really do. But it's like, to me, it was so ridiculous. That's the reason why I enjoy it, because this run, in my
Run is
opinion,
ridiculous. Yeah.
it's the most ridiculous run ever. Does that mean that it doesn't have any merit? I will stop short to say that, because we did get Tosin. Let's talk about Tosin for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Tosin is kind of like the antagonist to T'Challa at this point. He's the guy that's kind of on the boots on the ground dude. He's outside of the Golden City. They don't rock with T'Challa or with what they're doing in Wakanda. He's kind of like the answer versus, you don't like T'Challa, then come rock with us, that kind of deal. I don't know if that character is going to last, though. I mean, be honest with you, and it's just my opinion. What do you guys think these new characters that they have created? Of the new characters that they've created, which of the ones do you think are going to stick around? Because I do think some of these are throwaway characters, unfortunately. I don't think some of them are going to stick. But we'll see.
I can see, you know how Phil is always talking about Gunhawks.
Yes.
I can see the Buffalo Soldiers sticking around.
Right.
In that vein, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can see that. As far as Tosin, I don't know. That felt like such a fluke, like, because it's like his power set is very similar to, what's that character's name? Gentle.
Yeah.
It's almost like it was like when I saw the first time, I said, well, I thought there was already a character like that, and so that's been kind of interesting. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's worth a shot, I guess. But
what do you think, Otis? Which of the characters do you really like, and which ones do you think are going to stick around?
Buffalo Soldier, definitely. I had mentioned that before, with him being an original black character coming back through. Like, he's definitely sticking around. Tosin, Ja, the villain from this run, I think he's going to stick around. I definitely think he's going to stick around. Tosin, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say they're going to do what they wanted to do with him. He is going to be the new Black Panther, whether you like it or not. He is going to be the new young version of the Black Panther. I think they're getting rid of T'Challa or shelving him. As if you remember, the last panel was him running into that bunker and him telling Captain America goodbye. I think he's going to be gone for a minute. Something's going to happen, explosion, something, and T'Challa's going to be dead.
Okay.
Tosin's going to be the new Black Panther.
Gotcha. So
Now, Felicity, isn't that the president?
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying, Otis. If for no other reason than the fact that, well, I don't know if I never got the impression that's what direction Eve Ewing was going, Dr. Ewing was going with, but possibly
you might know something that you might know something.
But that seems like it's
going by.
But it's an obvious money grab. Like if he dies, the number one of the next run is going to be through the roof.
That book is going to be hard to cop. That book is going to sell out.
Yep.
It's going to be 11 million different variants for it.
especially if he's dead or quote unquote dead, because we know he's king of the dead, so he could be running around. He could be Hellboy for all we know. But that's definitely a smart marketing strategy. I mean, they practically killed. They assassinated his character this whole series. So I mean, why not just kill him off?
So it's interesting you say that. Now let me just ask this question: will Ridley's run be a lasting thing, or are they going to ignore it? Will future writers ignore it, or will they just do a retcon on some of this stuff? I mean, what do you guys think?
I think they're going to ignore it, and I hate the fact they really sort of just totally blew by what Coates did the last run,
right?
The intergalactic Empire of Wakanda. As outlandish as that was, you know what I mean? But it was oddly enough that would have even bringing at least holding on to that would have resolved so much of what happened in this storyline. You know what I mean? It's sort of like you really can't. It's like all the things that, in order to deconstruct, as y'all say, this character the way they did, they actually had to get rid of all that, because he was. If there was ever a character that was overpowered, it was definitely T'Challa at the end of Coates' run. You know what I mean? And so I wish they would have held on to that. Like, he doesn't have to, a character like that. Yeah, you got an intergalactic army. You have, but I think a lot of that was difficult about that. And what Coates was attempting to do was, I think he was sort of threading the needle in the sense that he was giving us a Black Panther story that Black fans always wanted, but could not do on the planet Earth. Like, there was no way you can create a Wakanda or a Black Panther that has such large empire goals, large goals like that. You know what I'm saying? You can't. It's like Marvel is not going to let you publish a story where, Wakanda this takes over the continent of Africa, right? Which seems absolute, totally plausible if Wakanda is who we believe it to be, but that would never fly. So since you can't make Wakanda a real actual superpower in terms of politically, in terms of world politics and stuff like that, he did it in outer space. You know what I mean? And I appreciate him for that in that sense.
Well,
but you said you thought it was ridiculous.
What
the intergalactic empire of Wakanda? You said you thought it was ridiculous, didn't you?
What, the Star Wars one? The intergalactic?
Yes.
I said that was the biggest. That was the biggest. We had that was the first time we've had an all black superhero. That was one of the biggest moments I said that was one of the biggest moments in what year did it come out?
Maybe I misheard you, because I thought a minute ago that you said as ridiculous as that was, and you were referring to the intergalactic empire.
Yeah, it was a large. It was a moonshot, of course. It was but at the same time, I'd rather have that than.
But you thought that was ridiculous? You thought that was as in because you now I'm just making sure I'm getting this right. It sounded to me like you said that with Coates' run, that it was ridiculous and that isn't plausible to happen. Is that right? Like you're saying like in the comic book world, Wakanda couldn't do what it did.
No. What I'm saying is Coates could not have possibly done what he did in outer space, literally on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
There was no way that Marvel is going to let him create a Wakanda that becomes a superpower.
Now,
it's just not going to happen because even when he changes his name to the what was that Cold Tiger or whatever name he did, when it was like he was trying to distance himself, they were trying to distance the character from the Black Leopard. He makes this statement that he does not what's it say? He does not agree or disagree or support or he does not agree or disagree with people who hold the mantle, hold that name or use that name or all this kind of stuff, but basically saying that he does not support what they do, or he doesn't have an opinion whatsoever. He's not getting involved. He's washing his hands of it. But that's not so much Black Panther saying that. That's Marvel. No, Marvel is not creating, these narratives where they're creating, these, large superpowers. So.
Well, here's let me ask you this, Imani. Here's the interesting thing. This run is about a guy who went rogue, who basically said to T'Challa, Tamaji, I'm giving this to you. Since you won't do the work to be for Wakanda to be the superpower, since you won't do it, I'm going to do it for you.
Right.
I'm giving you this here. So T'Challa's like, well, we're fighting against you. We're not for that kind of thing. And it's interesting because, to your point, that's not what Marvel wanted to do. But doggone it, if it don't look like that's kind of what they trying to do with this run. But be it, even though the tone, like you say, is problematic. When you think about it, go ahead.
Well, that's what's so problematic about the storytelling, because we get so caught up in folks dissing T'Challa. Like, I don't think anybody really realizes what the heck is going on. Like, I don't think anybody really knows what Jahai is doing. You know what I mean? It's like I know he has kidnapped the internet somehow, but aside from that, but I like the idea that this is definitely, and he's trying to empower his friend or empower the man, but even in that, right, it's sort of like the idea that he created this narrative that basically would offer T'Challa power, and he is desperately trying to undermine himself. You know what I mean? Oddly enough, so it's like, or undermine the possibility, even to the point where by the end of this narrative, Wakanda will be powerless. Not just T'Challa.
Yeah.
Right.
I gotta say, Imani, I hope you're wrong.
Well, it's like
that it doesn't go that way. But
the president herself basically said, like, we don't have no choice. We ain't got no army. We don't have any no one here to defend us. We literally had to make this treaty with Namor because we are defenseless. This is what
now. Okay, now, Derek, I need you to bring up the Namor cover. This is probably the most disrespectful.
I said it. I said it.
The most disrespectful black comic book cover in the world.
Ever.
Look at my man's. I mean, he got a grin on his face.
But think about it, it's just deconstruction, right? I mean, it's just,
Well, listen. We're being facetious.
As a fan of villains, that is the most villainous cover ever. That is like you said, disrespectful. Like, that is the ultimate villain cover. It is. I have to give it respect just because of that. As a Black Panther fan, I don't dig it. Like, it's disrespectful. But as a fan of villains, that's like the Red Skull holding Captain America's shield, like he's posting it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's disrespectful.
He might be naked under that flag too. That's just wrong. He just drape it around himself. That's just nasty.
I mean, look. Here's the funny thing about it.
Come on, man. Damn.
You know what's funny though? When he shows up in that book, T'Challa, it's like something. It was literally a trigger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he blasts Namor. He done forgot all about what was going on around him. He forgot all about that he ain't got no powers. He knocked fire from him, Namor. It's like, okay, you guys went and made a treaty with Wakanda's greatest enemy. And he's just sitting there laughing. He's just sitting there laughing. He got blood coming out his mouth. He's just sitting there laughing. I mean, he is having himself a good time.
He coming back as a villain, man. I'm telling you, they all disrespected my king. And he's coming back like, all right, y'all didn't want this. Now I'm going to give it to you. He's coming back as a villain. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I think is going to happen. He's coming.
Yeah. Phil says we're taking this too personal. Like Otis said, this is like the Red Skull holding Cap shield. This is a dope image. Oh, I'm not disagreeing with that. I am saying that is the most disrespectful cover. I'm saying it's disrespectful as a fan of Black Panther and what Black Panther lore means and what him draped with the Wakanda flag around his. What I'm looking at that, but it's a dope cover. Don't get it twisted. I bought that book for that cover. So we're not saying that it's something that we should burn or whatever. No. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. By the time we got to this issue, I couldn't wait to get this book, to look at this book. You know why? Because not because I was excited for the story or whatever. I just wanted to see how further John Ridley was gonna go down the hole.
Right.
And John Ridley's like, hold my beer.
Good Lord.
It's one of those things where how could Wakanda consciously, how could they go to Namor and say, hey, the Black Panther's been kicked out of Wakanda, or since T'Challa. T'Challa's been kicked out of Wakanda. He's no longer, we've stripped him of his citizenship, but we need some help. Which is funny to me because when you think about the movie, What do we see at the end of that movie? Shuri and Namor making a truce. And, Paul is in the chat, and Paul had always been screaming that this is what they were going to do. And I'm just trying to be the greatest optimist I can be. I'm like, no, they're not going to do this. And he's like, yes, they are. And I'm like, and so the more these dots connect, the more devastating it is. And it's like, this is just not right. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Now Paul says, when is he coming back, Otis? There's only one issue left. The answer is the next run. That means Ridley's run was.
No, he's not coming back the next run. No. Understand this. And I said this.
Who's not coming back?
6 months ago. I said this 6 months ago. This 6 months ago. There's a reason why they are they put out every T'Challa story that has ever been out. The Priest run, the Hudlin run, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's joints, Don McGregor and Billy Graham's. They put all those out in like omnibus form, hardcover paperback, all that hardcover paperbacks, all that stuff. The reason why they did that was because those are the stories that you're gonna have until the next time you see T'Challa. That's why they did that.
But hold on though.
T'Challa has never hold on. T'Challa has never died in comic books. He's never been gone for like years and then had a resurrection or a comeback. He's never done that, just like he's never been a villain before. This would be the first time. Did he? Did he die before?
That's the only way I could. I thought that was how he became the king of the dead. Or
no, that's not how that happened. The issues for that, Fantastic Four. Oh boy, there's 2 issues. I'm sure Herschel probably knows them by heart. Paul probably got it. Though that's how he became King of the Dead. No, he hasn't died and been gone for a while. Listen, I understand.
I mean, there was I don't think he didn't die, but then
607, 606, I think it is.
For the Fantastic Four. That's how he became right. But what I'm saying is, has there been a time where T'Challa just disappeared, where there was no T'Challa?
Yeah,
no, which one?
The Casper Cole.
He was gone for a while on that one. You're absolutely right. Good point. Yeah, he was gone for that one. What was he? Where was he? Like, what was the diagnosis?
He was in the background, like he was like coaching him, but he didn't have the role. I can't remember what the storyline was.
Okay, but what I'm saying is he was involved in the story somehow, some way. What they're doing is they're getting rid of him totally, and that's why they're focusing all these stories about Wakanda now.
Are you sure? Because I thought he's going to be a member of the next Avengers run.
Is he?
Or somebody in a Black Panther suit?
I think he's going to be. I think the thought is he's going to be. He's definitely going to be in Avengers. We do know that.
Really?
He's going to be in the new Avengers run.
Yeah.
But here's the thing too. Amani. And this goes into my next question. Matter of fact, this is probably going to be one of my final questions. Dr. Eve Ewing has got to run after John Ridley. We have one more issue of John Ridley. We're not sure when the next run or it's going to start. But she talked about T'Challa in particular, in terms of writing him. Now, in what capacity is T'Challa going to be around? We don't know. But I don't want to say that he's not going to be the main character.
He'll be an AI. He'll be a T'Challa AI, yeah.
Boy, you got the shade tonight, boy. Money on one tonight. So let me ask you guys. I'm gonna start with you, Otis. Dr. Ewing it was been announced that she's gonna write the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited for what story she's gonna tell? And what do you think she's going to do? Somebody in the chat brought up, there it is. Paul said that Eve Ewing already said she would not ignore what Whitney did in his run.
Mhm.
So, I mean, Otis, what do you think is going to take place? And are you looking for Dr. Ewing, looking forward to her writing on this book? Because this is like, you know what? I've been in a, a Honda Accord. Now I'm giving you the Lamborghini of Black superheroes.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, literally. I mean, that, you know what I'm saying? I mean, look, there's few
Yeah.
characters that, you know what I'm saying? I mean, this is kind of not, this is like, okay, you wrote Ironheart, you wrote other story champions, things of that nature, but now you got the big dog. You got the big book, the biggest book, as far as Black collectors are concerned and love Marvel anyway. What do you think is going to happen with her? And are you looking forward to it, bro?
I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it just like I look forward to all of T'Challa's stories. Good, bad, or ugly, I like anything that has to do with Wakanda and the Black Panther. I think this may be the goodbye story. I think this is going to be the ushering out of the old lion and bringing in the new lion. I think
Okay.
she has gotten the privilege, and I say that loosely because believe me, I don't want to see him go. I don't. But I think she has the privilege of putting him, guiding him out. I'm not gonna say putting him on the shelf. I'm gonna say guiding him out in a way where the next Black Panther #1 will be whoever it is that takes up the mantle. So I think this is going to be a like kind of like a farewell. I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying? I could be wrong, but like you said, there really isn't any going back from this, coming back from this right now.
Mhm.
There's no coming back from this right now. It needs time to the wounds need time to heal. You know, this all ties into Chadwick passing and like all of that has to do with why they're doing what they're doing. And I'm not saying that it's right, but I said it once before. This is the first time in our worlds that the actual real world connected with the comic book world,
Yeah.
and they're dealing with it the best way they can. This is the first time that this ever happened. They are going to usher him out for a little while. He's coming back though. He's definitely coming back, but they're setting it up for a new Black Panther. They're trying to do it that way. They're setting it up for a new Black Panther. They're trying to get new readers. Tosin's young, just like Miles. Tosin needs to be trained, just like Miles. Who do you think is going to be Tosin's last test? It's going to be T'Challa.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
T'Challa's going to be Tosin's last test. And it wouldn't surprise me if T'Challa knew what he was doing because he had to pass the mantle. It had to get passed down. This could all be a reason why he's doing what he's doing. That's what I'm saying. I'm very optimistic when it comes to stuff like this.
Gotcha.
I'm very optimistic when it comes to stuff like this. They might refer back to this run after 3 runs. Remember how T'Challa was bugging? Yeah, well, he did that on purpose because he needed to make everybody hate him the way that they do. He needed to become the bad guy. Yeah, he needed to become the bad guy because he's the ultimate test. And if you can beat him, then you can defend Wakanda. That's what he thinks. All right, so that's just that's just me. That's just what I think.
Okay, Amani, my man's. what are you looking forward to Dr. Ewing's run, and what do you think she's going to do with it?
Yeah, we all know this is going to be a historic moment. First Black woman to write this title, the main title.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely, and the fact that she, considering who she had to beat to get this, I'm fairly. It's like
that's the now hold on just a second. You just can't say that, bro.
I mean, we know it's like even she mentioned like names that could have got this, should have been picked for this. Like she beat out a lot of folks. So I think her pitch must have, it's something about her pitch that might have actually stood out.
Right.
And when I say like who she had to beat out, we're talking about who we talking about David Walker. We talking about, could have been Rodney Barnes. It could have been, there's some really hot names as far as black writers right now.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been Reggie Hudlin, could have came back. I mean, we don't know. It's like she had to. I don't think she was just handed this. I think she really, because we can tell.
We talked to Jeffrey Thorne, and
mm-hmm.
he wanted a shot at Black Panther,
mm-hmm.
and
and
when
he named that, like he named that list of names that he had to go up against too, right?
Yeah, he said that I mean they gave Ridley the job when he was going forward. I mean the guy wrote, in my opinion, one of the best one shots of a Black Panther story, part of a tie-in. That that King in Black story was amazing. That book stands on its own. You don't even need to read the King in Black stuff to enjoy that one shot. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm happy for her. I'm now. Here's my other question, guys. We're happy for her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do she have time? And what I mean by that is, from the gate, people are going to scrutinize and going to expect, or they're going to want something phenomenal. And it might be unfair, you know what I'm saying, if she starts off real slow, because it's probably, I'm thinking if you gotta build, if you gotta do some world building, if you gotta do some things that based on the Ridley run, will readers give her enough time to like enjoy and see where she wants to go? You know
Phil,
what I'm saying?
That's exactly what I said off mic. This really run is so bad that Ewing, she barely has to get up out of bed to write this book. She's gonna it's gonna be out the park. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, well, that's the thing. We got to gear up to really, rally around her and protect her, because when you think about how much vitriol they were giving Coogler about Wakanda Forever, I can only imagine what she's going to be up against. And it's sad, but we have to be prepared for the worst in that regard. Number one, from black folks, sadly enough, I think there's going to be a lot of it.
Toxic. Black Panther fans have become toxic. Am I right? Am I the only one who feels that way or have seen it? Like, as and not even
some
recently,
of it. You know what?
Like
What's interesting? I don't think a lot of it. I don't think it's coming from fans as much as it's coming from like black intelligentsia. Like, I think it's coming from folks that are using the Black Panther fandom as a platform to discuss, other world politics. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not. I don't know if it's so much Black Panther comic book fans proper, as much as just some a college professor here and there, or some really real read guy that's basically has some type of think piece on the movie. That's where they typically start. It's not even about. It's what's weird. It's like the vast majority of the folks that like were so against what they were doing in the film, I don't hear much of them saying much about the book. They don't even know what's going on in the book. It's like it was all about the approach that they were taking in the film. And I think a lot of that, and now when it hits news, because see, that's the thing. We were just talking about black women as far as the marketplace. this is going to be big news when this launches. This is going to this launch is going to rival the Coates run because it's like, you know, she'll be the first woman to write this title. She has, you know, she's written other titles before. She, you know, it's like, so they're going to run with this, just like they, you know, just like Nubia had like a really strong, you know, press run. This is going to have a really strong press run, and it's an all black team. You know, she has a black artist working with her too, which I'm really excited to see. Because I wasn't a fan of this. That was the other problem I actually had with the really run. I didn't like the artwork personally.
Interior art or the cover?
The interior art. I mean, you can't go. I mean,
I was gonna say, you don't like Alex Ross, my brother?
I mean, it's a no-brainer with you know, Alex Ross. But the interior art is sort of like, that's what thing is what's weird is sort of like it felt like they launched this book on the cheap, kind of, because it's sort of like, because there were some bigger names and artists. Yeah, this is the bigger sort of artists, you know, that they could have put into.
Here's the thing about that too, Amani. You know, you got to remember that we came out of the pandemic. Coates run ended. It went 25 issues. It took literally almost a year to get the last 2 or 3 issues of that run, and so people were, you know, kind of disappointed with the Coates run. I mean, I know Coates had you know, Otis enjoyed the Coates run. We used to go back and forth about that run, and but the thing about it was when that run was over, we didn't have to wait long for the new Black Panther run. And so when you think about that or whatever, we're not having to wait long for this run. And you know, Marvel, something about Marvel and number ones that they just love and enjoy because they know people are going to go out and buy number one. It's kind of like what they do with the X-Men. You know, they'll restart, go start over again. But you know, Seco said in the chat that, you know, she didn't have any time, and you know, I think for some people that's kind of going to be the sentiment. You know, unfortunately, we have to be, you know, supportive. I think that, you know, because it's historic, we got to see where she's trying to take the character itself. Paul was saying a while ago that as long as T'Challa is in the suit, she'll be fine. Phil also said that, you know, she could write a mediocre story or an average story, and Black Panther fans will be okay with it. You know, it's funny though, because I think that it's not even about wanting excellence. I think that we want a good story told either way. Again, you know, art wise, I'm okay with it, but just tell a good story. You know, that's all I care about, me personally. Just tell a good story. You know what I'm saying? And what that looks like, it remains to be seen. I'm excited for the opportunity she has. You know, this is going to grow the Black Panther fan base in a bit, because ladies that read comics are going to really ride hard for her, and it'll be telling. I mean, you got other Black, you know, women comic book writers like N.K. Jemisin, Nindi Okafor. They're capable writers out here, you know, that write good stuff. So, you know, it's a foregone conclusion that she's going to do, you know, good. But I do know that this is not a Honda Civic. This is a Lamborghini. And so, you know,
really done took the engine out of it. I don't know what he's doing under that. Really gonna leave it on bricks, man.
Yeah.
Do you think? Do you think
he's gonna leave it? He's gonna leave it on blocks.
Do you think he wrote what he was supposed to write, or he wrote what he wanted to write?
I honestly think he wrote what he wanted to write, especially when he had that dang on Buffalo soldier riding in a buffalo. It's like no one was telling him, like, no editorial control whatsoever. Like, who was telling him? It's like, you can't put that dude on a buffalo.
It's like, yeah, Black Bolt. Black
he
Bolt
told
has
he
his dog.
told.
His dog is
Oh,
huge. His dog is
Hey,
huge.
oh,
I'm
Black
just
Bolt's
giving
dog is huge.
I'm just
I mean, it's
I'm using
comics,
that as
man.
evidence that he had all the control in the world. If he wanted to put he wanted that white colonist dude to ride in on the elephant. He wanted the buffalo soldier on the buffalo. I mean,
he didn't want to be Hannibal. He didn't want to be Hannibal. He didn't want to come in on that.
yeah, I mean, the dude. If there was any question that anybody was stopping him from doing anything,
Yeah,
for real, for real.
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
So go ahead.
no, I forgot my thought. I forgot what
Okay,
my train of thought
sorry
after
about that.
the
Sorry
dang
about
on
that.
buffalo.
Well, yeah.
Oh no, yeah, I think at the end of the
Yeah.
day, yeah, he wrote the story that he wanted to write.
Yeah.
I think like some of the Otis, when you were saying that T'Challa, like, because I was waiting for this moment where he was going to trap whoever it is that was doing something to him, and then it revealed that he was always in control the whole time. I've been waiting for that for the last I don't know how many issues. Like, I've been waiting for that moment. I've been waiting for him
That
to be like,
T'Challa's been in control the whole time.
right. That's like you were saying, like that. Like sometime he's going to reveal that
Right. Oh yeah. Okay.
he was directing this whole thing the whole time. Like I've been waiting for moments like that. Like every time somebody steps to him and we get this cliffhanger where he's laying on the ground again. I'm always thinking it was like this was all a part of his master plan, and it never happens. It's like every issue, he's literally laying on his back almost at the end of every book, and I'm always thinking like it's like, okay, this is gonna be the one where he's gonna reveal this, like, you thought you had me and yada yada yada. Like no, he just is right back on his back again. It's like I don't know where did you go from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think that he had. I think part of it was him, and I think part of it was Marvel. Otis. I think that Ridley had to the pitch that he gave, him telling the story. Marvel probably had some things that they wanted to do, like you said, lining up to what they want to do for the future. They probably told him, you can tell that story, but at the end of the day, this is what's got to happen. I don't think he was fully in control as far as that is concerned. Because again, why would you take a character that is beloved and take him to this low point at the highest peak of his popularity? Because Black Panther as a character on the pop culture space has not been more popular than today, right?
Right.
And so to take him to this purgatory or this hell, if you will, to at some point take him off the board and bring him back. That's a lot. And I mean, again, when we talk about our fandom, we want to see our heroes be heroic. And I think that that's the biggest thing that hurts. Is that we're seeing a hero that we love not be heroic. We're seeing a hero smarting over decisions he made, right, wrong, or indifferent. And because here's the thing, he's trying to stop Jahai, right? But he doesn't. He's literally a man at this point, a man without a country. At best, that's what he is. At worst, he's going to die. And so you think about that. I've lost everything. The people that adored me, that once worshipped me as the Black Panther, and they don't like me anymore. And I got this young buck that's sniping at my feet, toasting. All of these different things, and yet, it's like I think Marvel gave him some space to play with. He told this story, but it's been so controversial. I've never seen white guys talk about Black Panther until this run.
Mm.
Yeah, of course.
And so I don't know if that
Hey,
was
Rich.
a good thing or a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Because
Hey,
I
Rich.
have
Do you
never
think?
heard white people talk. I've never heard white comic book or YouTube podcasters or whatever talk about when Coach did the run. I certainly haven't heard them talk about when Christopher Priest was doing the run. Even though that book, that run got rave reviews in the comics themselves, I've never. It was only to this run here that I actually saw somebody actually take more than 2 minutes to talk about how bad this run they thought was.
Hey,
So
Rich.
yeah,
Do you think this just hit me? Will we consider this? Is this Black Panther's Bane?
um,
Mm,
I
You
that's
know,
good, bro. That's good.
look. I mean, you
That's
know,
good. That's
we
good.
and
all
you
we
know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? I would have rather had a story that literally broke Black Panther's back, and he had to, because like in the Bane story, like assuming like there's people that aren't
Mhm,
familiar,
mhm.
like Bane like literally broke Batman,
Yeah.
and he had to like, and for a stretch, like you were saying, Otis, he was out of it.
Commission.
Batman has gone through this several times where he's just out of commission, and his quote unquote family has to step in, right? And but here's the thing: T'Challa ain't got no family now. That's what's so heartbreaking about it. You go,
But
Yeah.
he's
he about to get broken. He's
Mhm.
getting broken,
Yeah.
and his country don't want him.
Mhm.
His sister barely respects him.
Mhm.
All of his closest friends have died, apparently,
Mm.
right? He doesn't. He barely has the respect of so-called allies. It's like so weird when you think about how like
Well, you
even in
know,
Batman's case, like he had like this. He at least had Alfred. I mean, hell, the nurse him back to health. Who's gonna nurse this dude back? You
yeah.
know,
Well, you know
He
what's
is.
funny?
that's something to think about, man.
There have been issues of this book. Let's go back to those infamous panels of Captain America punching out T'Challa.
Yeah.
And you think about that, the optics of it. Okay,
Right.
we all know that Black Panther and Captain America have had battles before,
Mhm.
but why does this particular run? Why did it feel more like a trigger versus than just Cap and T'Challa getting into it again? This
I
was
know
different.
why. This was
Go ahead.
different because it's to your point where you were saying like he's our hero. I think it's even different than that. It might be semantics, but the reality is T'Challa Black Panther is our champion. And I think that's a different context, right?
Right.
As our champion, um, he's there fighting for us. He's not just showing up to save us. He's standing in our stead when we can't fight. He's fighting the battles that we can't fight.
Right.
He's our champion in the arena, in the room, on the battlefield. That's who he symbolizes our overall fight. So when he takes it to the face like this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like, and what's even crazy about, that's why the tone is what I'm most concerned about when how he really wrote this, because this scene is not even in character with Captain America, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
Captain
Mhm.
America would not, once he was down, it was over. Like this Captain America is hitting him in the face even after he's beaten. That's not Captain America.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it's like he wrote this to be triggering. You know what I'm saying? And he's using Captain America to do it.
Yeah. weaponizing, and that's the
Yeah.
part, man, that's kind of far that's when you brought up about the fans that are not even really fans of the comics, the fans of the quote unquote movies, or the fans that have outside agendas attached. It's things like this that
Right.
that's kind of like, dude, that's not that dude. You know what I'm
I
saying?
got
I mean, I understand what you see. You think you see this is a symbol of white supremacy or white oppression or whatever, but Steve Rogers has never been that dude.
Right.
Never been that dude. No matter how you want to make him to be that dude, he's never been that dude. He's always respected T'Challa, and they've been friends forever in a day. So this was one of the things that was very, very just bizarre. Otis, what you think about this, man? We got to go ahead and wrap. We got to get ready to wrap this up. But Otis,
I hear you.
just tell me what you
I'll
think
be
about
quick.
all this stuff.
I'll be quick. And this honestly just came to me. What if he did write it the way he wanted to write it? Like this panel right here, this scene right here. What if, like you just said, Captain America's not that dude, right?
Right.
That's what Americans think America is. America doesn't think Captain America's that dude. But to black people, that's what America is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
sir.
what I'm seeing, just off of what you said, Amani, what if that he wrote that purposely? He's down, he's beaten. America is still beating on him. That's us. Now, I mean, I might be stretching and I might be seeing what I want to see as an artist. I mean, I might be interpreting it that way, but just based off of what you said, you was like, he's down. That's not Captain America. You're right. It's not Captain America. But most Americans, they think that's what America is. America's great. But this is what America really is. I could be reaching. You know what I'm saying? I could be reaching, but that's what I just saw based off of what you said. Like I
like
did what you're saying about it being.
Yeah. I
What's
like
up?
C. Cole's comment. He says, if that was U.S. agent in the suit, but not Steve Rogers, T'Challa is not an African American. Because that I got U.S. agent vibes from that. Not even U.S. agent vibes from the comics, but from the show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But I mean, guys, love it, hate it, loathe it, or whatever. It's the run we got. We can debate it to ad nauseum. I'll never look at the Buffalo Soldier the same because Imani just he just ruined that for me.
I mean, the man out of Buffalo. What did I didn't even have to. I barely had to.
I thought it was a
from outer
cool
space.
thing.
From outer space, no that.
Buffalo Soldier's dope. The Buffalo's
got
dope.
beamed
I want to know what the
down.
Buffalo's name is. I want to know what the Buffalo's name is and if it has superpowers.
How was it that he was the only character though? Too. It was like it was the colonists, a whole bunch of weird aliens, and just him.
Yeah.
Like he was just, I don't know.
Yeah. Otis said, great discussion. We're not going to diss the Buffalo Soldier. Well, I wanted you on here tonight. Yeah, shout out.
Yeah, I knew you would dig him. I knew you would dig him.
Look, guys, we got to go ahead and wrap this up, man. I want to thank both of you guys for hanging out with me tonight and having this discussion. Lord knows we couldn't talk about everything, but I definitely wanted to bring you guys on. Hopefully, we can get an opportunity at some future date to talk about Dr. Ewing when that run starts up. So hopefully, I'm extending the invitation to you guys automatically when that run comes out, when it starts, that we all get back together and let's talk about it. But guys, we got to get out of here, man. The time to spend is after 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock on the East Coast. So with that being said, it's your boy Rich. I want to thank you guys for coming. Appreciate you, all you guys in the chat. Been a great discussion. Check our videos out. Derek, please go to our screen. I want to just highlight some of the videos of the content that we've had out in the last few weeks. We've done interviews with Joe Illich recently. We did an interview recently with John Jennings, and of course the the clip that we provided talking about the FOCs with Dr. Ewing. We had an interview with her, and we had an interview with Jeffrey Thorne, who wanted to write Black Panther. And of course, the Cody Ziegler, the guy who's writing Miles Morales Spider-Man right now, is on there as well. And Stranger Comics, independent books, all milestone roundtables, absolutely. And of course, the content that we have, we try to provide to you guys regularly. Wakanda Whiskey and Blurtum. Those guys are back in the saddle again, and of course, yours truly, Real Talk with Rich, and Ladies Live. That's a live where Tamiko and Angel and Brianna get together. We have some new blood that's probably going to be a part of that as well. So y'all stay tuned. The ladies are doing their thing, and we're going to support them and continue to do what we do. With that being said, guys, it's your boy Rich. I want to thank all of you guys for hanging out with us. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to support us, go to our website, blackcomiclords.net. Order some merch. Shout out to the young brother that bought some pictures on our website, beautiful pictures. And we have hoodies, we have backpacks, we have mugs, we have tumblers. We got a lot of different stuff on there, guys. So just go to our website, peruse it. We got over 300 comic books on there. You want to know about first appearances, you want to know about grails, you want to know about certain notable books, you can go there and you can check that out. I want to also shout out the Comic Hall crew, who Herschel and Derek, our producer, hung out with last night. That was an amazing time, and them fellas had a good time, and they went for a little while. So I got to go back and watch the replay because they went too late. I ain't no queen chicken. I had to go to bed. So having said that, thanks again, guys, for joining us. To Imani and Otis, I salute you, brothers. Thank you for what you do, and continue to support Black Comic Lords. Until next time, it's your boy Rich. We say peace. Until next time, love you. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you when we see you. We out.
Peace.